Chloe, are you talking to yourself?
I'm just annoyed that I spent all this money and there's all these scuffs on the floor.
Chloe is the most organized, cleanest, most obsessive person I know in her own home.
When I was young, my mom and aunties loved watching the Kardashians. This is me. These are my aunts and uncle. I grew up in Uganda watching American movies and shows like Empire and Ugly Betty. Even in Ugandan media, I consumed shows like Deception or Big Brother Africa. There was a pattern. Everything was about wealthy people. It felt like every character was surrounded by glamour and every storyline revolved around their wealth. Even today, now that I live in the US, it's impossible to ignore. Most of the media that we see, whether it's Friends, Blood and Water, Young and Famous, and African, they all still take place in wealthier settings. These shows give us a window into the 1%'s lives. They're entertaining, they're aspirational, they let us escape in these bougie worlds. Shows like Friends even give us characters we can resonate with, but somehow their lives are always magically stretched beyond what their jobs could actually afford. These narratives are fun because they create these aspirational dreamscapes. We love watching the struggles of the coveted 1% because they feel distant but still human. And sometimes nestled within these bougie settings, we see critiques of wealth and power. But the point remains. These aesthetics dominate what we imagine as active, entertaining, and fun. They shape how we see beauty and social agency. And then there is a show like Panchayat.
गजब का डेडिकेशन है सर आपके अंदर खूब मन लाके पढ़िए एकदम
अरे इलेक्ट्रिसिटी है तो पढ़ेगा ना कोई कभी ये इमरजेंसी चार्ज करो कभी उसे डिम करो ऑफिस के बाद 4-5 घंटे मिलते हैं वो भी सब इसी में चले जाता है जलाते बुझाते
ओ गहरा बहता दरिया गहरी है ये मजदार छोटी तेरी नाव है लेकिन बड़ा हौसला यार अरे उंगली सीधी उंगली घी ना निकले टेढ़ी उंगली दे
12 सोलर लाइट तो ये लोग अपने घरों के आगे लगवा रहे हैं 13वां सोलर लाइट नहीं लगेगा
Panchayat couldn't be more different from what I grew up watching, or even what I watch now. It takes place in Fulera, a small village, and follows Abhishek, a city graduate who reluctantly works as a village Panchayat secretary. The story is simple, the setting is modest, and yet it feels like it's full of life. I think for me, Panchayat was a reminder of something I rarely see in media, a context that I think feels more real or more honest to a lot of people's experiences. And that also gets us to imagine life and what's beautiful very differently. I'm going to talk about the eco-imagination and what makes Panchayat really interesting as a movie. So, Panchayat doesn't just show a rural village. It shows a village in harmony with its environment. The fields, the trees, the rivers, they're not just background scenery. They're part of the story, part of what makes the Fulera district or village beautiful and functional. The villagers rely on nature, not in a romanticized way, but as a part of their daily lives. And this is where we see eco-imagination. The show portrays a world where people work with nature, not against it. The farms, the mud houses, the hand digging wells, they're not signs of poverty. They're signs of a way of life that understands and respects the environment. It's a reminder that beauty and agency don't come from domination or excess. They come from working with what you have, from building lives that fit into the world rather than reshaping it to fit you. In contrast to wealth-driven media that celebrates urbanization and consumerism, Panchayat invites us to see beauty in simplicity. It shows us a world that doesn't need towering buildings or endless possessions to feel full of life. What makes Panchayat even more powerful is that it doesn't shy away from the challenges of this life. The villagers face precarity, they don't have the resources or conveniences of wealthier settings, but the show also highlights how they exercise agency. They solve problems and support each other and find ways to thrive even within limitations. It's subtle yet an important critique of the idea that agency is tied to wealth. Panchayat matters because it reminds us of what media can do. It challenges wealth-obsessed stories we're so used to by showing us something different, something grounded, attainable, and beautiful in its simplicity. It shows that life doesn't have to be luxurious in order to be meaningful or beautiful. For me, it opens up a space to imagine people like my aunts and uncles in these stories. It's a kind of beauty that feels real, one rooted in the lives they lived, a life surrounded by nature, shaped by community, and full of quiet strength. It reminds me of the kind of life my family lived, one that didn't need luxury in order to be beautiful. Panchayat helps me see that everyday moments of those lives, the mud houses, the fields, the small joys, and the shared struggles are just as worthy of being celebrated as the extravagant stories we often see on screen. It's a rare kind of story, one that invites us to reimagine what beauty and agency can look like. And for me, it's a reminder of how powerful these kinds of narratives can be. They let us see the beauty in the familiar, in the lives we know and the worlds we come from. And maybe, just maybe, this is the kind of story we need more of. Thank you.
What about Aliyah?